Hey everybody, welcome to Paleo 0 to 60. We're doing our wrap-up one. We finished the 60 days. I think we're probably around 65, 67, somewhere around there. So first off, let's go over kind of the measurement changes. So we went from 222 down to 197 today. And previously, actually, he started about a week before we started tracking. So we got a total of 35 pounds of weight loss there from 232 down to 197. Still going. So we got some measurements of body size. So waist went down from to 42.75, so -2. Hips went down 2.5. I'm talking about inches, 2.5 inches. The bicep and quad basically stayed the same, so we didn't lose any muscle, which is cool. And then the chest measurement, the chest width, went down 3 inches. So that's a pretty significant amount of just circumference going down.
That's a lot of rubber tire that was on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody talks about wanting to have six-pack abs. I just am glad I don't have the backpack fat right now.
Yeah, that's good. So what other stuff have you noticed that's sort of, we don't have measurements for, but...
I've noticed that what I thought was really good energy levels for me was really about the 40% level before I started this, with big dips in the late morning and the middle afternoon, down to about 10%. And now it feels like it's about 90% all day long with no dips.
Yeah,
and
I noticed that too.
It's just been that way the whole time, which is amazing. I was having all kinds of headaches, probably from blood pressure before, because my pressure was 140 over 110, and now it's I don't have any headaches. I haven't since about the first week of this, so it wasn't just that weight and that blood pressure, but that was part of the headache. But also my blood pressure did go down to 120 over 70, which is just a huge change, and more healthy, lots more healthy. The other thing is that my heart rate when I was an athlete, when I was younger, used to be around 50 to 55 all the time, my resting heart rate. And boy, in the last few years, it's been so high that some of my friends have said, boy, you seem like you're really frightened. When I wasn't, but my heart rate was high enough, it was like my body was very anxious. It was up in the 80s, all the time. And now my resting heart rate has been around 50 to 53, which is back where it used to be, and it's great, because I haven't been exercising much yet. So the diet really did that, losing all that weight and getting rid of some of the things from my body that were not good.
It's pretty impressive how, because people typically associate, if you want to lose weight, you got to exercise. That doesn't seem to really be the case, considering there's been a minimal amount of exercise here. The diet has been really dialed in. Obviously there's a lot of beneficial effects to exercise. So I wouldn't say don't do it, but I would say, like, if you want to lose weight, you can do a lot of it with just dieting.
Yeah, just eating the right foods and avoiding the ones that are actually toxins.
Yeah.
Along that line, the other thing that if I were to talk about a real important takeaway for me, I think one of the most important things that I would want to just ask people to notice if they start this, or even if they're just thinking about doing a paleo diet, is I feel very lucky that Jeff invited me to do a strict paleo diet where I really respected all the stuff that the paleo guys know about foods to avoid and foods to eat and how to do it. Because what that did was give me a baseline now, so that anytime I tweak one thing, like I added a little tiny bit of dairy back into my coffee, and I've now done that and stopped it twice. And each time I added this teaspoon of dairy, I put 3 pounds on of water weight. So I had to ask, what's up with that? That's not good. There's something going on there. Reading in Cordain's book and some of the other literature, I see that there's lots of reasons why that might be, all the way from immunological problems to hormonal things. So I feel lucky that I have that baseline. I think normally we go through life eating so much stuff that's bad for us that there's no way to sift out what effect any particular thing had on us. So when somebody says, geez, these vegetables you're eating, these beans, for example, that you're eating could be a problem for you because of the lectin content, you're going to go, I've been eating beans, they're not a problem for me. Yeah. But now if I eat beans, I see what they do to my guts, and I know that's meaningful.
Yeah.
I don't ignore it.
I had the exact same experience, because, like you mentioned earlier, there's so much noise going on when you're not working properly that it's hard to siphon out the different signals. You can't say, like, oh, if your gut's constantly in this sort of disrupted state, you can't be like, oh, I had beans, like that's probably why it's disrupted, or dairy or whatever. But when your normal state is like this great, not bothering me at all, I know when I eat
high energy, clear mind.
Exactly. Like if I then eat a piece of bread, which I haven't done in quite a while, or a beer more likely. If I drink some beer, and
some liquid bread,
liquid bread indeed. My stomach will start to kind of get a little gurgly, and then I get gassy, and I know, like, okay, I drank the beer, there's a cause, there's an effect, and so I'm now able to make those decisions because I have that baseline.
And so, sometimes we do choose to break those rules, but we know what we're doing then. We're not blindly doing 100 different things to ourselves that are really detrimental.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like you can say, I know it's detrimental and it does this to me, and so if I do it this one time and wait 3 months before I do it again, I'd probably be a lot better off.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
Yeah.
One other kind of cool effect that we've had in just doing this whole experiment and playing with this is so people will see my dad and they'll be like, oh my God, you look so much healthier, like you lost so much weight. And so I started asking, like, okay, what are you doing? And we had a woman come over, kind of a friend of the family, and she was asking around. She's a little overweight, and so I was curious. She used to be a bodybuilder, but she's sort of fallen off that. So she was trying to figure out, okay, what can I try? So we turned her on some paleo stuff, gave her a cookbook to try out, and she's been doing it. She's lost 15 pounds, I think, in just a couple of weeks. Her energy levels are great. She was really smiley last time I saw her.
A lot more self-assured.
Yeah.
She acts like she knows where she's going now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really motivated. Cool. Yeah. And she works caring for older folks. And she reported this very powerful thing that for me is very gratifying, and I think it probably is for Jeff too, that there is this trickle-down thing, that when we're healthier, it really affects others, not just us. So they're motivated by that. They recognize it. And she started cooking some paleo stuff for these old folks who are bedridden and diabetic. And the older lady that she's done this for loves the food and has been a diabetic who takes insulin for decades. And she's now down to almost no insulin needed.
That's pretty awesome. That's
pretty amazing. It also puts a lie to the idea that really will stop a lot of us from trying this kind of thing, which is that we think, well, yeah, I've been that way for so long, I don't think there's any remedying it. Because here's this lady who's been on insulin for like 20 years, and she's getting to the point where she doesn't need it.
Yeah.
And that just makes me very happy.
Yeah, me too. And the thing is, if someone wants to try this for 30 days, they may not get that effect. It may not work for them. But the fact that the possibility is there to be so much incredibly more healthy for 30 days of maybe struggling with some stuff, why not?
Yeah, and without doing the things we now really understand why they don't work, which is the kind of diet that ignores food as data, as food as having very specific components that affect us in very specific ways, some of them bad, so we want to avoid those kinds of food. If we don't ignore all that stuff that we now know, and we don't try a diet that just restricts calories and makes us work out like crazy every day, it's totally grumpy and you can't sustain it, and we don't want to, we're not motivated to. Instead, we do this diet where we eat as much as we want, pretty much, and it's good food once we learn how to cook it, and prepare it. It's like we don't have to do those punishing things to ourselves. That makes a real difference. Yeah.
Cool. So, I don't know, for you, we've been thinking about this and talking about this, but kind of looking forward, what are your goals, and kind of what do you want to continue now that we're done with the 60-day experiment? But
it's interesting. That's crystal clear to me. I want to get down to what I think will be an ideal weight for me. I'm sort of guessing at that because I've been away from that for so long, but I'm thinking it's about another 15 pounds down. It's probably about 185. And because there was a time where I was that. I was less muscular than I am now, but I really think that's going to be a much healthier weight. And I sort of am just trusting my body to let me know as I get close to that, whether I'm in a good place or not. And I've learned to trust how I feel and how I look. I can look at myself and say, yeah, you could still lose some fat, and you know how. Yeah.
Awesome. That's exciting. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching our videos. Feel free to send them out to your friends. Thanks, Ed. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
So, yeah. All right, catch you later. I'll as we get more data, we're gonna get some blood lipids checked and probably do some other stuff. Maybe put together a before and after shot. We'll post those to the blog. It's www.paleo060.com. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, and it's hard to say. We may start posting other chunks of information just to make sure people have them accessible. So since you know about this site, keep an eye on it, because I'm pretty motivated now, and I've been reading a lot of the literature. I'm a scientist at heart, so a researcher. So I've been reading a ton of stuff, and I often have a different way I want to say it than some of the guys who've written about it before. I think maybe more accessible, I hope. So I'm going to be giving a shot at that too. So keep an eye on things.
Yeah, cool. All right, thanks.
All right.